Hi, I'm Matthew Whitley, a senior at Middlebury College, and I'll be making this tutorial on behalf of NOFA Vermont. This is the second video of 4, and I'll be talking about hydrologic processes and what they mean for your farm and flooding. I'll be introducing you to the Vermont Agency of Natural Resources Online Atlas. I rated this a 5 out of 5 on the Resources for Farmers page that NOFA has given you because it is a very powerful tool that can show a lot of things. To put the atlas in context, I'll be using Bruce Hennessy and Beth Whiting's Maplewind Farm, Andrews property, located outside of Richmond, Vermont, on the Winooski River. So if you follow the link to the Agency of Natural Resources page, you'll get to this atlas. And it looks like this. The first thing you should notice is this tab in the top right called Atlas Layers. Here you can change your base map to imagery, black and white ortho photos, or topographic maps. But more importantly, you can select different atlas themes provided by the Agency of Natural Resources. The default is all of them. And other ones include water wells, state lands, or waste management. But the most important to our needs is the rivers management theme. So when you turn it on, you'll get a different set of layers. The second thing to notice is this Quick Tools tab. When you click on it, you can see you can do a lot of things, including zooming to a town, finding an address, printing maps, or you can open and close the toolbar. This is probably the most important, so go ahead and open it. You'll see that the toolbar is divided into 4 main categories under these tabs: getting around, uploading and drawing, identifying or querying the databases, or measuring. I'll get to measurement in a separate video, but for now, let's just stick to getting around. Much like Google Maps, it has the pan tool where you click and hold and then drag the map around. It has the zoom tool where you click and drag a box to zoom into that area, and a zoom out tool, which is the opposite. You can search for a town here by just clicking in their name of the town you want, or you can zoom to the full extent, which is, in this case, all of Vermont. If you zoom to the previous extent, that takes you to the extent that you were earlier. This is really helpful if you accidentally zoom into an extent you didn't mean to. But for now, let's zoom in on Richmond, and specifically Bruce and Beth's property along the Winooski, which is right here. So once you understand the toolbar, we can talk about what you're actually seeing on this map. So over here, in this box, you'll see all of these different layers. They're divided into categories and are hierarchically arranged. So if you click on any plus sign, it'll show you the layers within that section. To show or hide these layers, click the box with a check. So check or uncheck to show or hide these layers and everything underneath of them. So I can turn all of these off just by clicking that or that. So what are we actually looking at here? What these are, this is the Sga T Assessment Layers, or the Stream Geomorphic Assessment Team's assessment layers. What these are studies along the river done by the government assessing the geomorphic properties of the rivers. This is not available for every part of the state because they haven't actually got into assessing every part of this stretch, every part of the state. But it does show you what is and isn't assessed yet. So phase 1 is the first phase, which is just remotely done using satellite imagery, so it's not very precise. Unfortunately for us, our stretch along the Winooski here, where Beth's property is, doesn't have any stream geomorphic assessment past the phase 1. Phase 2, however, all of the purple stretches along here actually have people on the ground assessing the river segments at a time in small reaches or breaks. And that's what all of these green and red dots show, where the stretches of river that they've already worked on start and end. So when these studies are, see what I did there? I accidentally was zooming in instead of panning. So what these stream geomorphic assessment layers actually show are that these floodways, D-firm floodways, and because they haven't done any here, we can't see them. But over here, we can see this is the floodway. And the floodway is the area along the river that are reasonably required to efficiently carry and discharge the flood water or flood flow of a river or stream. And you can't build here because these will flood when the river floods. However, these special flood areas are indeed, you can indeed build here. These go over the extent of the river that flood. These are known as the 100-year floodplains or the 500-year floodplains. See here, the red, orange, and yellow are the 100-year floodplains, and this gray is the 500-year floodplain. Now, this doesn't mean that these areas will only flood once every 100 years. In fact, it could flood twice in 3 years. But it just means that there is a 1% chance that it will flood every year. This concept is being tested as global warming is making flooding less and less predictable, as we've seen in the past, especially Hurricane Irene. But nonetheless, these are still useful. So what I just showed you was really more of the technical and administrative part of the atlas, and in the next couple of videos I'll demonstrate some of the useful layers and how to interpret them.